If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Now, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast if you so desire with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. Now, you can download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Now, let's get right into today's podcast. Today, I want to share a little bit about expectation. What are we expecting? In Proverbs chapter 23, verse 18, it talks about expectation and what it is that we do when we are in expectation. It says, "For surely there is an end, and thy expectation shall not be cut off." Also, Proverbs 24:14 says, "So shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When thou hast found it, then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off." So we see that expectation is something that does not, or it shouldn't be cut off. But what are we expecting? Expecting in the Strong's Concordance, it actually means our hope, the thing that we long for. What are we expecting? And if we are expecting good, we should receive good, because the Word of God here tells us that our expectation shall not be cut off. And the expectation has a lot to do with our attitude, our hearts, what it is that we're going through. What are we expecting? When I get up in the morning, am I expecting to be in a traffic jam or annoyed? Or what am I expecting when I get up in the morning? What am I expecting when I go to bed at night? If I'm expecting not to be able to sleep, that hope, that expectation, whether good or bad, it will not be cut off. If you always say, sometimes you can say, "Well, see, I told you so." Well, that's because you're our expectations. So we have to really get control over our expectation, and it can be a fight to the finish. When we put our hearts out there to believe for a job, or to believe for certain things, or favor, or just to have a good life, or whatever you're expecting, a family, it should not be cut off. It's like when you're expecting a baby. When someone is expecting a baby, the baby doesn't just pop out. It has to be formed in the womb. It has to grow. It has to be nurtured. It has to be fed. Well, it's the same with our expectation. It has to be fed. And what are we feeding it? Well, we feed our expectation with the words of our mouth. Our words are so important when it comes to expecting and getting what we expect. If I'm expecting something good and I declare that or claim that, or I'm expecting a wonderful day today, well, what are you doing to nurture that wonderful day? Are you getting an attitude when you drive in the car? What is it that you're doing? What are your actions? Are your actions lining up with your expectation? So think about it today, when you, or any time when you're in expecting or expectation of something. What is your words? What is the actions that you are taking? If something does annoy you, do you let it overtake you and say, "Oh, gee, see, it didn't happen"? And we're the first to blame someone else for our results, when it really is our heart, our actions, our motives, how we respond. We have choices. We have choices that we make, and our expectation should line up with the things that we desire. If I desire to have my own business, it's not going to just pop up out of the blue. I have to do what? I have to have an expectation, but I have to put actions to my expectation. So be encouraged today that knowing that your expectation will not be cut off. Expect good things, expect great things, but also line your words up with those things that you expect. Don't speak negative over the things that you're believing God for, or that you're standing on. Because a double-minded man, it talks about that in James, is unstable in all of his ways. It doesn't mean that God doesn't want you to have it. Sometimes we blame God. We blame everybody else but ourselves. but it's really our actions, our response, our expectation. And here in Proverbs it says, surely there is an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Again in Proverbs 24:14, so shall the knowledge of wisdom be unto thy soul. When you have found it, then there shall be a reward, and thy expectation shall not be cut off. So expect great things today, but line up your actions and your words with your expectations and watch God be able to move into change in your life. This is Diane Woods, and I thank you for tuning in to the podcast today.